It's 8:30 p.m. on a Saturday, and one of Thimphu's rock bands is getting ready to perform at Mojo Park. As the pub teems with music lovers of all ages, the band is now ready to play.
It's on my skid row. This is called I Remember You.
While it looks like just any other band in town, there is something different, something diversely special about this one. The lead singer is partially blind, giving birth to the name of the band, the Able and the Blind. This is Kinley Phyntsho, and while he's able to somewhat see right now, he's been told that he might eventually become legally blind. Kinley is a 23-year-old singer. He has a degree in BA General, and he lives with his parents and two younger siblings. And although one couldn't tell from his appearance, Kinley was born with Stargardt's macular degeneration, a genetic eye disorder that causes progressive vision loss due to the death of the photoreceptor cells in the central portion of the retina called the macula.
Now when I think back, like when we were in the movies also, he wouldn't want to watch the movie. He would want to go out and eat some popcorn. I guess being first-time parents, we never really thought about it. We heard that a doctor from Nepal had come. And then we took him there, and then they diagnosed him as, what did they say, Stargardt's disease. As much as it saddens you, I think maybe it's for a cause. I get very emotional.
Kinley's mom worries about Kinley's future, but chooses to remain hopeful and optimistic.
They said that there is no cure. And the thing is, they also said that eventually lose vision. But again, sometimes I believe they don't lose vision. So I try to look at that fact that there is not going to be loss of vision. So I guess that keeps that little hope.
Kinley is not completely blind as of now. He lives the same life as his peers, but with some fuzzy challenges.
Where's the middle line? Can you all see the middle line? When I see things, it's basically it's a blur in the center. It's very difficult to make out details which are right in the center of my vision, whereas details around the sides are a little easier. But at the same time, the details around the sides are not that clear as well. It's just like I can make out that you're sitting in the chair right now, but I cannot make out the details of your face or what, like the expressions you're making, but I can see that you're shaking your head.
Since the condition does not have a cure, Kinley has to be mindful of a few simple things.
Like I can't stay out in harsh light for too long, which I've ignored so many times. I'm supposed to wear sunglasses because harsh sunlight also can cause problems. But recently I've started wearing a cap, so that kind of helps out a bit. But other than that, there's nothing much we can do about it.
Kinley nevertheless doesn't use his condition as an excuse at home or elsewhere. Since he lives with his family, just like the others in the house, he has his share of chores.
If one has done something in the morning, the other one must do the other chores. So he has his share. He has his share of getting into the kitchen, washing the pots and pans.
There are a lot of young adults in America who have no idea Hillary had anything to do with it, who are enjoying better lives because they were in that program.
After finishing up with his chores, Kinley finds himself some TV time.
Doing the work is hard.
Kinley used to intern with Kuzu FM and Radio Valley, and now volunteers for Ability Bhutan Society, a public benefit organization helping children with diverse abilities. He insists on replacing the commonly used word disability with diversely abled.
Diverse ability it's a softer, more gentle way of describing someone who is born with different abilities. Like the word disability or mentally challenged or physically challenged, it's a very harsh way to describe someone. I mean, you don't necessarily mean it in a harsh way when you say, oh, that person is disabled. But when you say that word, personally for me, it makes it sound like that person is incapable of doing anything at all, which is not true. I mean, they can't do a few things, does not mean they can't do everything. Whereas diverse ability, diverse meaning different. It's a way to show people that there are people who are different, but at the same time, they do not deserve to be treated differently. They do not deserve to be treated badly against or to be, segregated from society.
When he's not watching TV, Kinley prefers to spend his time exploring the philosophic poet inside him by writing songs.
Music, especially for me, needs to have meaning. That's why I can never relate to a lot of pop songs, because they tend to sing more about having a good time, and that's why I cannot identify with love songs either, because you've heard one love song, you've heard them all. And for me, I think music should be something that provokes thought. It should be something that causes you to think. It should make you ponder on certain situations.
Along with writing, Kinley used to enjoy reading too.
I used to read a lot, like every day I used to have a book, to the point that a lot of my friends who knew me from high school and my middle secondary school, they'd always tell you that Kinley was always with a book in his hand. You'd never see him without a book. And even during lunch, whether it was during break time, I'd always be with a book. Even in class, sometimes if I didn't feel like studying, which is most of the time, I just have a book in front of me and always be reading.
But not so much now.
Dear Kitty, that's it, no. And once the problem was diagnosed, then my vision started deteriorating. It became more and more difficult to read. It became like, I took about 30 minutes to finish a page, just like one page, and then after a while I flat out gave up reading books. It was rotten of us. It was rotten of us because I, for one, am quite sure that I should have screamed even louder. An eye on her soup and her meal. Stayed in Middle Ages, entitled "Cozily in the Main." My neck. Though I do miss reading books, I miss reading the hard copies and stuff. But ever since, like with smartphones and all that, it's become easier to read because I can just zoom in. And I also have on my phones and all, I have these apps called talkback apps, which read out whatever is written for me.
Facebook. Showing item. Edit box. What's on your mind?
The voice is annoying.
Sisser Raj Garung and 84 others.
It's so
Photo,
condescending.
comment, write a comment. Stickers. Showing items 1 to 7 of 7. Facebook.
In addition to reading, Kinley faces some other significant challenges in his daily life.
I struggle to text. Most of the time I've sent a lot of typos to my friends. Bright shiny days, like really strong sunlight when everyone enjoys the light, I really hate it. Because like I said, it takes a toll on my eyes. When I walk, I can't. The glare is too much for me, and and I've nearly been run over because of the glares, because I haven't been able to see cars coming my way. Thankfully, my reflexes are quick enough. I can't stand stairs because they're always the same color, so that I never know if there's a step after, and that usually ends up with me taking a tumble once in a while. Thankfully not in front of a lot of people. I usually pull it off like as if I'm trying to tie my shoelace or something.
If you see him walking, he walks with a lot of confidence, and wherever he goes, he has his trademarks. He'll have a particular mark there. Even while he was in Kolkata, he always had a huge building. He has absolutely no one, going from. Swimming, I don't allow him to do, but he loves swimming. And if he goes also, it has to be with someone else. It shouldn't be alone.
Kinley is quite often described as an amiable and an outspoken person, but he wasn't always like that.
You have to understand that when you're a preteen growing up with this, it causes a lot of insecurities. I mean, you're only a 13-year-old, 12-year-old, and you're going through a lot of that, and it kind of takes a mental toll on you. And because of that, I actually became very shy. I could not come out in public. I became very conscious about what people would say. Like, even now when I look at my phone, I can still hear people saying stuff like, oh, what's he doing? Is he licking his phone? Is he sniffing his phone? And if I didn't have that problem, maybe I feel I would have been a little more confident growing up through the years.
Kinley's biggest concern, however, isn't for himself.
The immediate thought that came to me maybe is that my mom and dad really had to struggle. Sorry. Well, the thing that I struggled with most was the thoughts that came in my head was that my mom and dad would really struggled for me. Like, I could be the happiest person in the world right now, and it's all because
I know it's been intense, a lot of questions, right?
no, it's not the question. It's that every time I think about that, it doesn't matter even if I'm by myself and I think about it.
Yeah.
Kinley believes that he's not in this alone and that his parents carry the bigger share of his worries.
When people go through this, the idea has always been, I'm going through it. This is my life. What am I going to do? But then we rarely ever think, what would my parents be going through? Because I'm the eldest in my family, and my mom and dad have really sacrificed a lot for me, especially. Sometimes that thought was there that if I ended it, that if I offed myself, maybe it would be easier for them. It's pointless at one point. I thought I could do everything. I could graduate college, I could finish high school, but then at the end, there are certain things that I'll never be able to do, which I really want to do. And you can always say stuff like, I've come to terms with it, I've accepted it, but there will be days when you wonder what could have happened if things had been different.
As time passed, Kinley found the strength to move on with the help of one of his favorite hobbies.
I think everything that is pent up inside, so he lets it out. So it came out in the form of poems. I have kept several of his poems. And music, I think, then came from there.
I got through everything because of my music, and that's why I owe my music a lot. Because when I went through that stage, that depression when I was in Calcutta, I came to the point where I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to end myself. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to keep it at this, and then I know it's going to hurt people, but eventually I thought that if I died, the sorrow is going to be there for a few days, and then they'd be a little happier knowing that I don't have to struggle anymore. And then just around that time, one of my favorite bands had released a new album, their latest album back then. It's Lamb of God, and they had released an album called Wrath. And I bought that album and I really liked it. And there was one song in particular that really hit hard for me, and it's a song called Broken Hands. And there's a line in that song which always gives me the strength to push on, and the line is, we're all going through hell, it's burn or keep on walking. And I decided not to let myself burn. I thought, it's better to keep walking, keep moving.
Well, there's those that do and those that just do talking. We're all going through hell, it's burn or keep on walking. The big hearts sing their shit.
After fixing himself a quick lunch, he heads out to practice with his band for a gig they have this weekend.
Let's go!
Since he cannot drive, Kinley walks. The Able and the Blind is a year-old rock band. Kinley is well known in the group for always being prepared.
Yeah, he's very disciplined. That's the most important thing for me. And apart from that, he does his homework good, and he's very creative with his art. So yeah.
Yeah.
Kinley is also known to have a knack for memorizing all his lyrics.
I can't ever look into a piece of paper because it disconnects me from the audience if I'm reading it off a paper. Second, that would be one reason. Second reason being that my face would be really close to the paper, and I don't want to do that on stage. First things I do is I always go online, zoom in on the lyrics, and just pick it up that way and then keep it in memory.
The band practices vigorously for hours in preparation for tomorrow's performance, and then calls it a night. The night of the performance has come, and after setting up and tuning in their instruments, they begin.
I was born under a baptizing, out in the cold. Maybe I was only let alone, just what it means to lose your cool. Well, I took on the heartache and turned it to shame.
A lot of the audience has been there when the band first performed on stage and has seen Kinley grow as a singer.
Beginning when he was performing, that time he was a little bit, his self-esteem was down, but after he performed for many times here, he got this confident, and he got this, what can we say in English, the influence for the music. That dedications show him that he's a good musician. He can make a crowd have fun, a lot of fun.
As we speak right now, he's singing on stage. He's singing a blues song. I've never heard him do that before. But that just shows he's trying his hand at all sorts of new things. And I would still say that he does metal most convincingly, but he is evolving. And I do see that he is coming into his own.
There are some like Karmatupchan, a childhood friend of Kinley's, who's been with Kinley through all of this.
I've known him for a very long time, and he's never let it be an issue. He's never let it define him, his problem, and he's always excelled in things without having to make an excuse for his eyesight.
To Kinley, music provides him with a channel to express, and it brings him a sense of calmness in his life.
It's my place of zen, actually. It's one place where I feel not only sing, to perform, to be on stage. It's that one place where I feel big, for lack of a better word. It's almost close to a totally different plane. It's a place where nothing can touch me, basically. And performing with the guys, it's always like that. Because just as much energy as I give out, these guys give out the same, so.
It's over. I know how it's gonna be. A true love will never die. Oh, not fade away. I can't stop loving you. And no matter what I say or do, you know my heart is true.
Kinley doesn't feel the need of sympathy from people around him. Rather, he says that what is required is empathy.
There's this saying which a lot of our Bhutanese do. We say, oh, their past life, they did something bad, that's why their current life is thing. And it's not right. I would want people to be more accepting, more compassionate towards diversely abled individuals. And society as a whole should be more supportive, should be, instead of saying things like, oh no, we are a compassionate Buddhist country, I think instead of just saying that, we should start, practicing it. I mean, there are those who are practicing it, but it would be nicer to see a lot more of us practicing that.
Kinley hopes to continue singing for now. His family and friends support him in this endeavor.
Am I sad? Yes. But I prefer to look at the things that he's able to do. And I think he's able to bring a lot of joy to so many people around him.
My motto in life. It's actually a quote that was said by one of my favorite singers, Randy Bly. There's a line which I really love. He says, "Life is hard, deal with it." And I live with that, knowing that there will be challenges, there will be obstacles, but I got to break down maybe once in a while, but I got to learn to pick myself up and, yeah, go ahead, full on.